Hey guys, what's up? Aqui quem vos fala é o Iago e olha com quem aqui eu tô aqui hoje. Tô com o Adan Sensei, poliglota mexicano, já conhecido por fazer diversos vídeos divertidos no Omegle, tive, dentre outros, sempre mostrando muitos conteúdos para você aprender idiomas, dentre outras coisas. Agora eu vou pedir para o Adan Sensei fazer uma pequena apresentação dele e já vamos começar. Mas antes, não esquece de deixar o like e já seguir o canal.
Olá, olá, galera. Vou fazer em português? Vou fazer em inglês.
If you want, you can do it in English.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adan Sensei. I'm 38 years old, and I'm from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. My two native languages are English and Spanish. Then I learned Japanese. Then I learned Korean. Then I learned Chinese and Portuguese and other languages as well. So I'm really passionate about languages, and I'm also passionate about helping people learn languages and improve their learning mindset.
Oh, you've said just your strongest language, isn't it?
I don't really like to brag too much about my other ones because I'm still trying to polish them. But yeah, I'm also studying Italian, Indonesian, a little bit of French, a little bit of German, a little bit of Malay. I love these languages as well, but it's hard for me to keep a decent conversation in them yet.
I get it. When did you learn your second language? Your first foreign language?
Well, yeah, so my native language is Spanish, but maybe at age 4, I started interacting with American culture, watching American shows on TV. I was watching it just every day in English, even though I couldn't understand anything. I was just watching programs. And then I had some family members that also were living in the United States, and I live near the border between Mexico and the USA. So I would cross back and forth and meet my family members, and we would just get to talk in English. This was my first contact with English. But then maybe when I turned around 17, I started having contact with Japanese. That was the first language that I actually started studying.
Oh, very good. How old were you when you started to learn your process to learn English?
I never really actually learned English, right? I just started watching shows when I was 4. Then maybe when I actually sort of started learning it was when I was around 11, 12. Because at school, in my junior high school, they teach you English, right? They teach you grammar and all of these things. But I sort of already knew how to speak, right?
So it went natural.
I think it was pretty natural, just playing with my friends, with my cousins, and just watching TV. That's basically all I did.
So you consider your first non-native language as Japanese. You had some struggles to to learn this.
I had a lot of struggles because I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I liked Japanese and I wanted to learn it, but I wasn't really having a good strategy to learn it. So I was just doing whatever I could.
You were 17 that time?
I started at 17.
In that age, we don't know much about what do we really want.
Nothing.
We start something, we quit, and start again, we quit again.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened to me.
Another question that I have for you is, what were your struggles about about learning Japanese in that time?
I think the biggest struggle, like you said, I was really young. I did not have a strategy. I did not have a method to follow and take me from point A to B to C to D. I was just grabbing little pieces here and there of something I found. I found a website. It teaches you a couple of things in Japanese. I was reading that, and maybe I found a book here. I found a book there. I was just testing everything, but I really didn't know if I was making progress or not. That was like the biggest thing. And I didn't know why I wanted to learn Japanese. I liked anime, right? That's it. That was my biggest struggle. I have no structure in my studies.
The thing that you said, it's really sometimes we just can look for our goals, but we can't see how we've learned, how far we'd go. So sometimes we have to look back to see how much we have achieved.
It's easy to take it for granted. Sometimes I've met a lot of people that know a lot, but maybe they're just haven't practiced their speaking at all. They don't know how to immerse in the language, for example, and they think they don't know, but when you test them the right way, they're like, oh my God, I know this much, right? Because like you said, they don't look back and they're not able to measure how far they've come.
It happened with some of my students that they were like saying, oh, I so much time and I didn't know much. And we started to write the things that we've learned together. So we've started with just one word, and I said, what more else? What more else? They started saying the things that they learned, the sentence, the grammar, the word, the expressions, the idioms. In the end, it was like a lot of things they've written there, and it's not even the half of they've learned.
They knew more than they thought they did, right? Because you wrote it and you
Yeah.
made a list and an inventory of what they had learned. That is really, really powerful.
About the language that you've been learning, what do you consider the most difficult language and why?
I have two answers for this. You can have a language that's difficult because the language itself is very different from what your native language is, right? For you and me, Portuguese and Spanish, these are Romance languages derived from Latin. If we are going to learn Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Arab, anything that's really different is going to be more of a challenge because we have new things to learn, new words, new ways of thinking, different order in the grammar. That is work by itself right there. That makes a language difficult, right? But I think this is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is this language something that's really important for you or not? This is the biggest challenge because Japanese, Korean, Chinese, these are difficult languages, but I've learned them because they are important for me. They help me connect with people. My wife is Japanese. It was my dream. I don't care how long it takes. I do it every day, right? And for my languages that maybe they're not as difficult, for example, Indonesian. I'm learning Indonesian right now. It's not a difficult language. It doesn't have complicated grammar. It does have a lot of different words, but I just don't study it as much because it doesn't have a big, deep importance for me yet. I think this is the biggest challenge. Is the language important for you or not? This is the biggest difficult thing in a language.
Something that I consider that makes English more easy for Brazilian people to learn because in our surroundings, everything is in English. You have the words we use. Sometimes they are in English, like jeans, words like outlet, like the brands names, and smartphones. There are a lot of words in English, like everywhere. Our cartoons as well. Sometimes I use it like something like this. For example, when I teach someone how to pronounce the word X. Oh, remember of the cartoon X-Men? We make those kind of connections. Using what they already know.
That's really powerful because learning a different language, if you have something to connect it to, it's easier because that's how our brain works. It works by connecting things, by association. But if you have nothing to connect that to, if I say to you a word in Japanese and in your head it's just going to sound like, how do I process that, right? You have to process it, and if you can't, then that's what makes it difficult.
Oh, very good, very good. About you, Adan, what was your reaction when you realized that you were already a polyglot? What was your reaction?
I never really had a goal to be a polyglot, for example, right? I just remember I learned English, I learned Spanish, and then I learned Japanese, right? So this is 3 language. I was trilingual, right? And then I started learning Korean, and then I guess from there I could be considered a polyglot, right? But I just wanted to learn Korean because it was cool. It was not really my goal to do it. But then later, after I was already comfortable with Korean, then I went crazy. Then I started to learn French and Italian and German and Chinese and Cantonese. And then I learned what people that were calling themselves polyglots, and I was like, I guess I'm a polyglot now, right? Guess I'm a polyglot now. People ask me, I want to be a polyglot like you and something. It's a lot of work. I would not recommend it just for being a polyglot. You really like learning and you want to go visit the other countries, that's great, but get ready for the work. For me, my reaction for it was like I had no reaction, basically, when I learned I was a polyglot.
Oh, I remember that I was like, sometimes it's like you've said, sometimes we take that for granted. You've learned. I remember that I realized that I was fluent in English. I was like shocked.
Okay.
I finally got to understand what they're saying in English in those TV series and talk shows, and I was like, oh, I'm proud of myself.
That right there, I have had those moments. Yes, that's actually a cool feeling. Like, if the question would be, how do you feel when you can understand a language now? Oh yeah, that is awesome. When I first could understand people in conversations in Japanese, I was like, wow, that is so cool, right? And then in Korean, and people were getting surprised. I was like, oh, this is really fun. That feeling right there is really cool.
The best feeling ever.
It's amazing.
Very good. That's my main goal as being a teacher, an English teacher. I want people to feel the same way I feel when I realize that I can understand stuff, that I can communicate using English, talk to people that sometimes they even have English as their native language. For example, people from Japan, people from Korea, people from India, and people from everywhere. That's the best feeling ever.
You can connect with everybody with English, mostly. Like most people, right, that are learning English or try to learn English, it just opens up the world to if you can speak it. That's really a powerful language to have right now.
Guys, don't forget, me and Adan Sensei, we have an YouTube video that we were talking in Portuguese. If you want to see that video, go on the link below here. Don't forget,
check it out, guys.
And don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Obrigado.
Oh, so talk a little bit about your studying routine.
Right now, I'm not really trying to get good at one language. I recommend to everybody to get good at one language, to focus on it. Right? That was me. That was for me Japanese. That was for me Korean. Now, I guess Chinese is my main language, but I'm also studying other languages at the same time. I don't recommend this to most people that are learning their first foreign language, but this is what I do. I wake up in the morning and I do 25 minutes of first. Right now I'm doing Cantonese and Italian. I use a set, and I do my Anki, and I do it with sentences. Then when I finish that, I take a small break, and then I take maybe a 5-10 minute break, and then I do my second group of languages, and I'm doing right there, it's Indonesian and French. And then I do that as well. I do my repetitions and I practice it. And then when I finish that, later at night or in the afternoon after I rest, then I do my last group of languages. Right now, that would be Chinese and Portuguese. I'm sort of still actively studying these languages, but I'm already at the end of my studying method for these guys. That's 6 languages in 75 minutes in three blocks of 25 minutes. That's how I study right now, actively. But passively and immersion, I watch movies, I talk to my friends online, I practice, and that's all I do. I shoot videos, right? I do collaborations and stuff. So.
Very good. Oh, this is going to be for my students. I always talk about the importance of that, but in your opinion, what is the only tool or the best app for studying and reviewing a language, and why?
For me, it's Anki, right? The app Anki, that's for me because it helps me study wherever I am from my computer, from my phone. It does take some time to learn it, but once you learn how to use it, it's really, really powerful, right? If you don't have that, the next best thing, in my opinion, is to use a good textbook that has audio with it, that has MP3s, that can help you listen to what you're studying. Right? For me, Anki, number one. Number two, really good quality textbooks.
It's supposed to be a Kindle advertisement.
Kindle advertise. Kindle is good for reading, to passively increase your vocabulary and all of that. That's also really good. There are a ton of tools, right? But if I could only choose, I would choose these two.
Very good. Oh, something that in my research I've learned that most part of polyglots they say they use it's Anki. It's something that I've been using for learning Japanese, and I'm using with my students, and I'm like always pushing them to use it because sometimes it's hard for them because it's not like an app that is gamified. It's not like a game, so sometimes they struggle to like review it, use it like daily.
That's a challenge, just learning how to use it. But that, I'm pretty sure you support your students very well there and teaching them how to use it. And then once you know how to use it, it's life changing.
And even though that ones that use it daily, they have the fastest results ever. It's a very powerful tool.
Learn how to use it, guys. It's super powerful.
About this, guys, Adan Sensei has a video that he says everything that he makes using Anki, how he do it. It's a very good video. It's like a half an hour, and I oh my goodness, how didn't know this yet?
If you guys want to go check it out, I go through my routine, through my thought process of how I actually do my Anki. That's a really powerful value right there in that video. Go check it out.
Something that I saw on your Instagram stories that you managed to do your reviews using why you are exercising your body, isn't it?
I have a where is it? Probably in my
remote
back.
control.
Yeah, I got a little remote control. Let's pretend this is not it, right? It's I got something.
Okay.
And then it has little buttons on it, and then it's connected to my computer, to my Anki, and then I can just say correct, incorrect, correct, incorrect. So I can be walking here in my room, looking at my screen, and then listening, and then I'm just doing my Anki while walking. So I get cardio and I get language studies.
I have to manage to do so because I'm spending so much time sitting.
Yeah, I have hours and hours and hours of cardio thanks to that hack. If you can't do that, you can do it on your phone. Walk and do Anki on your phone. That's also a really, really good thing. It helps your blood flow and focus better. Just turn off the notifications and focus on Anki only so that people are not disturbing you.
I remember that in the beginning of this year, in January, I was in Fortaleza, that I've said to you in the beginning. And sometimes I was really away from my laptop, and I always, like in these moments, I use the cell phone, the Anki web, to review my Anki.
If you have Android, you can download Anki for free, so you don't have to use the web version, right? So download that. If you have an iPhone, then you're gonna have to pay. If you're rich enough to get an iPhone, you have to pay for Anki. But if you have Android, you can get it for free. So you don't have
or you can do like I did. What do you think about when do people they have to what native content such as TV series and movies in the language that they are studying? When do you think is the best moment ever for them to start like doing this?
What now? Anytime. Start now. You don't need to be perfect. Even if you don't understand, just start making a habit of finding content that you like. That's really important. Start doing it now. And then when you feel comfortable, then maybe you can start putting English subtitles, right? And then slowly start transitioning. But the important thing is to start making the habit of watching it, because most people that are monolingual or that they don't know how to study a language, they're just consuming content in their own language, right? So get in the habit of starting exploring other content. That would be now.
Sooner the better.
Sooner the better.
Sooner you start consuming native language, native content, sorry, you will get better, even better, like day by day.
Do your best, guys. Wow, we went 20 minutes already. You have any more questions for me, bro?
Last one. What advice would you give for a person who is trying to learn a foreign language?
Someone that's trying to learn. My biggest advice is find someone to practice with as soon as possible and get that out of the way, because most people, they just study and they're afraid of practicing to make mistakes. When you can learn how to deal with this, the studying becomes 10 times more powerful. There's apps to find people, there's apps to find tutors online like Iago, and find quality people to practice with and get that out of the way, because you get used to it. People are afraid of it, but when you do it and you get it out of the way, then it becomes 10 times more easier.
Sometimes people struggle. They put like, oh, I'm shy as a barrier. Like, it becomes better with practice.
That would be my biggest advice. Find a way to get yourself to practice.
Practice. Guys, don't forget to subscribe on his YouTube channel and follow him on Instagram. And don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's it, Adan Sensei. Very good. Thanks for accepting my invitation. That's
pleasure.
it. That's all.
It's a pleasure, my friend.
See you later, guys. Bye bye.
Galera.